If we would that God, who is infinite love, should in all his glory reveal himself in us, his love must reflect in our thoughts, words, and deeds. Prem is composed mainly of three powers, that is, power of forgiveness, power of compassion, and power of endurance. Although we are subjected to hate, contumely, and persecution from others, we do not harbor thoughts of ill will or refuse towards them, but think and wish well of them. Here we exercise our power of forgiveness. We take the sorrows and trials of others as our own and bring them relief. We go forward to serve them with enthusiasm and a selfless spirit. We sacrifice for their sake our body, mind, and riches. Here we exercise the power of compassion. Then we suffer to an extent in order to free others from their pains and troubles. And for gaining this end, we are prepared to cheerfully renounce all our personal pressures. Here we exercise our power of endurance. In a life of self-denial, we experience pure, independent, and incomparable delight. It is now we have the realization of the fullest prem. It is now the soul, having achieved liberation, reveals himself in his true being as Brahman. Now the soul remains merged in the limitless ocean of Anand in all states. Attained to this greater than the greatest status of Purushottama. Reach the transcendent apex of human aspiration, which is your birthright. Having realized deathless peace, spread it all over the world. Be blessed, says Swami Ramdas. Then going ahead with question and answers between Swami Ramdas and a devotee. The devotee asks, what discipline should we follow in meditation? Papa answers, Ramdas can tell you his own experience regarding meditation. He had never practiced meditation for the first year of his sadhana. He was simply repeating God's name with all love and faith. He thought his life's object would be fulfilled only by realizing God. Okay. By seeing him, by feeling him, by having him, all for himself, so that his life will may be purified, ennobled, illuminated, and in every way blessed. He thought that was the highest purpose in life. To that end, he was day and night remembering God and pinning for him so that he might reveal himself. It went on like this for 1 year when he was wandering in several parts of India, as narrated in his first book, In Quest of God. After his return to Mangalore, he occupied a cave on a small hill. There also he was repeating God's name constantly. One evening, God wished that he should sit for meditation, but he did not know what meditation was. He was simply repeating the Ram mantra and his mind was bathed in an ocean of peace. He was aware of the external life, but he had no interest in anything. In that state, he was asked to sit silent with closed eyes and allow the mind to take its own course. He sat erect and closed his eyes. As soon as he closed the eyes, the mind became still, sank within, and lost himself. He was in a state of trance and ecstasy. For nearly 3 hours, he could not move his limbs. He was seized with joy from within, with which he became one. He could not come out. He would not also come out. Both were true. Because he was lost in joy, he could not come out. Because he was enjoying that rare bliss, he would not come out. In that state, he sat for those 3 hours, still like a rock, not entirely unaware of the external life. For a time, there was a dim consciousness. When he was sitting erect like this, a peculiar feeling came over him in which he first lost awareness of the hands. And this sensation gradually extended all over the body until at last he was completely oblivious of it. He was sitting awake in a state of supreme joy and was feeling that he was all pervading. He was lost in that consciousness. The chanting of the name had done its task and he had been prepared for the final plunge. Now he was completely lost. Thereafter, whenever there was any devotional music going on, he used to go into trance for hours together. But later on, this developed into another consciousness wherein he beheld everywhere the divine. As he became more and more aware of the divine presence everywhere, going into trances became less frequent until he was established in God consciousness to such an extent that that state remained with him in all conditions, whether awake or asleep, talking or walking. So, meditation as such was not practiced by Ramdas. It came to him automatically after long practice of chanting God's name. Then he was induced into that state by such external impacts as God's name sung before him or some talk about God, which fell into his ears. But gradually, that was also controlled by God. Now he is living in the normal condition, is in what is called Sahaja Avastha. But the divine consciousness which he experienced in trances is still maintained. This is how meditation came to him. It was spontaneous. The individual self must be absorbed in the universal and you must lose the body consciousness, completely merging your individual being in that supreme being within you, who may be called God, truth, or reality. Going with the words of Puji Mataji Krishnabai, Mataji says, Papas means God's eternal being. That we have to attain is one of utter emptiness, total void, like the vacant space around us. If we are to attain such a void, we should also become thoroughly empty within. That is to say, there should not be the least vestige of Deha Bhiman, meaning body consciousness in us. Only then we can attain Papa's, or in other words, God's Sakshat Swarupa. Papa's, God's real nature, real Swabhava is Nirguna Nirvikara Swarupa, nameless, formless, static, void aspect. Such a supreme being who fills all space came in a human form in order to enjoy his own bliss. It is like enclosing the emptiness that is all around you within the confines of a small container. Take away the enclosure, and what is left? Only emptiness again. Papa's or God's eternal being is all void, and we can become one with such a Swarupa of Papa, God. Only if we ourselves become thoroughly empty within and without. Ultimate state of realization would be like the vast space around us and between us. Just bring some thought into your mind, and as soon as that thought ends, there is a pause before you think of another thought, and the mind is blank in this period. That blankness is Papa, God. The vacant space between you and me is Papa. So much is the all-pervading, and such an all-pervading Papa is seated in your heart. In the final stage of God realization, when you become one with reality, you shed the last vestige of body consciousness and the sense of duality and become one with Him. Then there is none left to imbibe the experience and come back and report about it. You and He become one. Papa is the all-pervading, Nirguna, Nirakara, Adiantarhita, Shashvata, void filled with Shashvat bliss and infinite reality. Papa is all this and beyond this too. You are also within it, but you do not know it. You live, move, and have your being in Him. Papa protects you both within and without. Next, coming to the talks of Pujya Swami Satyanandaji, who speaks about love purifies and makes the mind dwell on God. Swamiji says, when beloved Papa Swami Ramdas gave the name to us, he assured us that if we keep chanting the name constantly, it will take us to the supreme heights of realization and grant us eternal peace and happiness. See how much joy we get when we are all sing the name together. We forget ourselves and we get a taste of the supreme bliss. And what will happen if we are able to chant the name constantly all the 24 hours of the day? We will be swimming in bliss. Why not we make a decision now that at any cost we should chant the name, that glorious name which beloved Papa has given us constantly, and enjoy the peace and happiness of the eternal. Constantly is a very important word. Constantly means all the 24 hours. It may not be possible in the beginning to keep the name going on constantly, but by practice, by our intense aspiration to realize Him, we will be able to do that. One thing is sure, whether you do it constantly or not, the more you chant the name, the more peace and happiness you will get. Why are we not able to chant the name constantly? Though we have resolved to do so many times. Beloved Papa has given us the clue. To keep the name going constantly, we should have great love for God. Unless we have intense aspiration to realize Him, our love for Him. Love is a great purifier. If we love our own people at home and everybody in the world, it will be possible for us to keep chanting the name constantly. So, along with the chanting of the name, develop love for all. Love is absolutely necessary for the purification of the mind and to make it dwell on the Lord constantly. You can understand for yourself how much peace and happiness you get when you love your own people in the house. We know this from experience, yet we do not want to develop this habit of loving everybody. Start loving your own people in the house, then your neighbors, and then outsiders. As sadhakas, as devotees of beloved Papa, let us understand that by looking upon all as manifestations of beloved Papa himself and loving and serving them, we can progress on the spiritual path. When we say our beloved Papa, what does it mean? Is he God himself? Yes. What is God? God is infinite and external. God is infinite and eternal existence. He has manifested as the entire universe. When we say he has manifested as the entire universe, it means whatever we see before us is the form of our beloved Papa. So, we should love everybody, looking upon everybody as forms of beloved Papa himself. That love will give great happiness. Beloved Papa does not want us to do very difficult things as our sadhana. He expects us only to keep chanting the holy name constantly, love and serve everybody, and try to look upon everybody as manifestations of himself. Let us try to follow his instructions. That will be the greatest service we can do for him. Many people, when Papa was in body here, came and asked him, how can we serve you? Papa, what service can we do for you? He did not say, you must do this, you must bring this, or you must bring that. No. He said, the greatest service you can do for Ramdas is to take Ram Nam constantly. So that is applicable to us even now. Let us all take Ram Nam constantly and thus serve him and be the recipients of his grace, which will take us to the supreme goal of God realization. So coming with the essence of spirituality, revealed through the in-depth study of beloved Papa's In Quest of God. As mentioned in whatever last month's vision, the process of improving ourselves was categorized into 4 segments: preparation, guidelines, spiritual disciplines, and daily practices. Now, going with the guidelines, what do we have? Knowing the origin of the individual and the world. When we ask ourselves as to how we came into being, normally our answer would be our parents. A little in-depth study will reveal that our parents were also born because of their parents. Like that, we might be able to identify for 2 or 3 generations. That means, though our parents may be the instrumental cause for our birth, the journey started from the origin of the first uncaused cause, the first seed, which our intellect cannot comprehend. However, through 5 shlokas in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains the above mentioned word seed, which is the origin of the creations, including us. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Mortaya Sambhavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahat Yoni Aham Bijaprada Pita. Meaning, O son of Kunti, for all species of life that are produced, the material nature is the womb, and I am the seed giving father. We all owe our origin to God. We have forgotten this connection and we feel that our sense of individuality with body, mind, and intellect is the starting point of our life. Beloved Papa said, try to enter into the mysterious origin of your and the world life. To know who you are in reality is a real quest. To arrive at this truth, you have to, by a systematized process of thought and discipline, transcend all human limitations set by the body, mind, and intellect. And then embarking on the realm of the spirit, realize your immortal, changeless, and blissful nature. Realizing Gnanottara Bhakti or Parabhakti. Gnanottara Bhakti means bhakti that comes after Gnana. Gnana is the realization of the Atma, Nirguna Brahman. What about the universe? How to look upon it? Take it as the manifestation of Brahman. This is done in Parabhakti. After attaining Gnana, the Bhakta looks upon the whole universe as God Himself. He does not discard it as Mithya. The Gita also says the world manifestation is a Leela of God. This experience is gained through Parabhakti. While Bhakti is nothing but feelings born out of the love of God, Gnana relies on self-inquiry and going beyond it. Ram not only blessed Papa with Gnanottara Bhakti, but also enabled him to maintain a personal relationship with the impersonal. While beloved Papa was seeing the divine self as pervading every particle of the universe, he experienced simultaneously that same infinite as a personal God. His beloved Ram speaking to him and guiding him in an utterly personal way. No doubt, the path of Gnana enables one to know his or her origin. But the sweetness of that experience need not necessarily be there if it is not combined with bhakti. Only when duality is there, enjoyment of sweetness can be had. So scaling the heights through a non-dual realization while simultaneously developing a loving devotion were profoundly juxtaposed in the living experience of beloved Papa. Next is knowing about the great void. The all-enveloping God is exemplified as the great void, the endless and limitless space that contains the entire manifestation. At the same time, whatever happens to the content, the manifestation, it does not affect the container, the great void. Pujya Mataji amplified it thus. His external being that we have to attain is one of utter emptiness, total void, like the vacant space around us. If we are to attain such a void, we should also become thoroughly empty within. That is to say, there should not be the least vestige of Deha Viman, that is body consciousness, in us. Only then we can attain his Sakshat Swarupa. The great void encompasses everything that exists, yet it remains untouched and unaffected by anything that is happening inside it. His Nirguna Nirakara Swarupa has manifested as the entire universe with innumerable names and forms. He is seated in everybody's heart. When we are firmly established in our sadhana or nama, dhyana and seva, we come to identify ourselves with the whole universe and we derive the same joy in serving those around us as we get in serving our Guru himself. Then the mind reaches a state of stillness or void, like the space between you and me, or between the road and the sky above. That emptiness pervades you within and without. This will lead to Sakshatkar. The very fact that beloved Papa used the term great void only once, that too in the first paragraph of the first article, itself suggests that consequent to his ardors and intense struggle and longing in his quest, he could have glimpsed the transcendental experience of the cosmic reality. Then onwards, to describe that flickering but transformative experience with an appropriate and approximate term, he started referring it to as